Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Waters Above, wishing you all an amazing start to your week. And we have so much to get into in today's video since Bitcoin officially broke out to $30,000 for the first time in over 300 days. Perfectly timed for a surprise Decode presentation I just released hours ago. The World Reserve Decoded is officially available now at patreon.com/watersabove, and you could consider this presentation as a part 2 follow-up of my recent Sell in May and Go Away Decoded that I just released in March. And in this World Reserve Decode, I expose the importance of this year, 2023, as a crucial year for central bank digital currencies and how Elon Musk will be used to push this agenda into the Western world. It starts out with connections to the Bretton Woods Conference, which led to the US dollar becoming the world reserve currency, and the Nixon shock, which led to the termination of the Bretton Woods system, with an esoteric deep dive into the Holy Roman Empire through Julius Caesar and the month of July, and how it's all connected to the anticipated transformation of our global economic environment. And I share exactly how I see this all playing out over the remainder of this year, and why I'm personally paying attention to the next 2 to 3 months to de-risk my portfolio in preparation for what's to come. And I got incredible feedback from the Sell in May and Go Away Decoded, so I appreciate all your support. And I think this new release titled World Reserve Decoded is going to be shocking regarding how many connections and connecting all the dots to this new financial infrastructure that's being laid out. And believe it or not, Twitter will play a big role in this transition phase for the normalization of that process. Again, I appreciate all your support. The new Decode is available now at patreon.com/watersabove for the Mastermind community membership, and the link can also be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below. So grateful for all your support. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And with that being said, let's take the clear pill. All right, so a couple updates. Of course, since my last video came out, we watched Bitcoin dominance officially hit into 48%. Satoshi is now 48 years old. Talked about that in my last couple videos. And Bitcoin has officially broken out above $30,000, just hitting that target as of yesterday, kind of teeter-tottering on those levels. And in my recent Red Pill podcast I released on Patreon, I explored the number 31 and 13 and mentioned that I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin hit 31,000 into April 13th, which is tomorrow. So let's just quickly get into some of the numbers. We have right here April 13th being the 103rd day of the year, 103. In the rules in numerology, you're going to remove that 0 and you get right back to that number 13. And remember, in alchemy, we're always mirroring numbers, never mimicking. So when we mirror that 13, it naturally becomes 31. And I decided to connect this date to March 13th, which in the Gregorian system would be 131 or 313. Again, that's the palindrome of the number 31. And if you connect these 2 days together, tomorrow to this March 13th date, it's 31 days apart. So since tomorrow is April 13th, let's see if Bitcoin gravitates to that number by the code. We know Bitcoin can make some moves fairly quickly. All day tomorrow, we have tons of time. It's just April 12th right now. The stock market's about to open up in 30 minutes as I'm filming this. You know, a lot of volatility is going to kick into this market, especially with Bitcoin hitting that psychological level of 30,000. And that last red pill I released was packed with gems. I even included a full decode on gold. It was highly requested and I delivered. So that's 2 full decodes in less than 3 days. We're not messing around here for the wolf pack. I appreciate your guys' support and definitely think that that gold decode sets the record straight of where I stand with gold and where I see it going in the near future. And in a little, I'm going to share another gem connected to gold by the code. But first, let's finish up with our April 13th connection. So April 13th is also a 15 standard date numerology, and we're currently in the 15th week of the year in the Gregorian system. Another thing to mention is it will be on a Thursday, which is Thor's Day, or Jueves, which is Jupiter Day. So day of Jupiter, and the fact that we have this 103 is the 27th prime number, and connecting this back to Jupiter, you can see Jupiter is 27 by the code in Chaldean right there. And this naturally ties us back to Ripple with that 27. So I've spoken a lot about this. And another connection to the 103 is Mercury. Again, the god of fiat money, of money printed out of thin air. That's all mercurial. That has to deal with Mercury, and that will be Thursday, tomorrow, the 103rd day of the year. So very big, guys. This 103 connected to the 27th prime. Of course, Mercury, or Hermes, is the son of Jupiter. It's all adding up through the mythology, and this is an important part of my decoding system. It's what's helped people to see that there's a much more deeper layer to how this market operates, and it's all through the mythology, not just the astrology. You need to know the mythology to make sense of it all. So let's move on. This upcoming April 14th will actually be the 2-year anniversary since XRP hit its local high in 2021, just shy of $2. So let me quickly go over to that chart and show you what I'm talking about. And just a couple of years ago, right here on April 14th, we saw XRP rise into $1.96 on most charts, just pretty much a straight line breakout, as XRP likes to do. It likes to move in these straight lines. So with this 196 connection, and as I said, XRP hit $1.96 on most of the exchanges on this day, and that actually brings us to a very critical part of the code, which has to deal with gold. And you can see right here, gold, the atomic mass is 196. Now, I'm not saying that there's any connection here between gold and XRP. That's not how this works. XRP can't be pegged to anything. That PSYOP needs to kind of just be, we have to move on from that. But I am looking at the code here. And in my recent decode that I just came out with, if you're a Patreon supporter and you watch that, you'll know that we talked a lot about this number 79 and how crucial it is this year, and how we're moving into this new, we're currently in the Jubilee year, and that'll be ending very, very soon in September, transitioning us into the Hebrew year of 5784, which adds up to 24, and X is the 24th letter in the alphabet. This is all coded in. I feel 2024 will be an incredible year for XRP. So I just thought that was really interesting that we see XRP 2 years ago on that exact date hit that 196 target. Could be a little bit of code for us to consider moving forward. Will this upcoming Friday, April 14th, be bullish for XRP? We'll have to see. But as we get closer to this upcoming new moon, that's kind of what we've been anticipating anyway. So if you've been following along, we know we have that solar eclipse coming in a week or so, and pretty much expecting a bullish energy into that time frame. So anyways, we had that 196 connection to gold, with XRP hitting 196 2 years ago on April 14th. 196 has become very important in my work because it's the atomic weight of gold. Anyone who watches my new World Reserve Decode will know why the X symbolism and gold currency are so crucial and revealing for what's to come for this economy. So another thing to mention about April 14th of 2021, that will be upcoming the 2-year anniversary since Bernie Madoff died. And I encourage everyone to watch the Bernie Madoff documentary that was released on Netflix if you want to see how incompetent the SEC is. So the Securities and Exchange Commission, if you think that they dropped the ball on Ripple and XRP, just wait till you watch this. It will blow your mind. You could essentially hire kindergarteners or preschoolers to the SEC and get a better performance than the team of all-stars that they have in position. And I'm not talking about just recently. I mean, since pretty much early 2000s. So watch that documentary and you'll see just how horrible they are at doing their jobs and how much just they have dropped the ball way bigger than the little SEC case that's going on. But this is just to bring people back to reality of the bigger picture. So jokes aside, we're about a week and some days away from the upcoming solar eclipse, and we have the lunar eclipse right around the corner in early May on May 5th. We're keeping those dates as top priority when it comes to the energy of this crypto market, and this would be a perfect moment to move into the charts and see what's going on in the price action of this market. So before we get into the TA, go ahead and give this video a like if you haven't already. Spread some love in the comment section. That's what we're all about. Let's check out Bitcoin. I'm gonna quickly move through this because we've just seen the bullish breakout isolated to Bitcoin. We see Bitcoin definitely sucking in some extra dominance. I believe it made it close to 49%. Because we're in the year of Jubilee, and Jubilee is after 7 cycles of 7 years practiced on the 50th year, that tells me that 49 and 50 are very powerful this year, and I would not be surprised if Bitcoin dominance hits 50% over this next week or so on this rise up. It's very typical how Bitcoin behaves, leading the market at this time. So we had a bullish pennant right here. I'm not a huge pattern trader, but I did expose this as something to keep in mind. Again, bullish breakout into a pennant. This means it's a bullish pattern. And we were trading here pretty much trapped at around 27,000 for 24 days. And then we get this breakout candle happening recently on Monday. We have made it to 30,000. So it's coming into this fractal territory back in May of 2022, about a year ago. And you can see that we had about 30 days trading in that before we went another leg lower into the eclipse, the lunar eclipse of May. And you guys probably, June, sorry. And you probably remember this time frame because this is when Terra Luna collapsed. So that was a really big thing to happen in the crypto sphere. These lunar eclipses during a lunar phase in the market are no joke. And we're actually going to be leaving the lunar cycle on April 20th. We'll be starting a solar cycle. So the lunar eclipses should become weaker. And this is important because when we enter solar cycle, Bitcoin has a trend reversal. So that's very bullish, but it's not going to happen overnight. We need about, we need to make it to the halving and then a little bit past the halving. And that's enough time for this to all come back to what we like to call bull run. But anyways, with that being said, I do like this breakout to 30,000. I think it's important we slow down a little bit. We do have some time. I've exposed recently how I wouldn't be surprised at all if the month of May up until about May 17th, May 18th, we get extra juice in this market, just more push. It depends on how quickly we make this breakout. But when we look at the last 2 iterations of the automatic rally cycle, which is this moment right here, Bitcoin moved up about 80% in just 20 days. So in this cycle too, Bitcoin moved up about 80% in just 20 days. And I'm comparing this moment right here, very, very similar to this moment right here. They both happened in the same time frame, by the way, June, and they both hit the top of the golden pocket both times. You can see right there, the 786 was tested right in June. Right here, the top of the 786 was tested right in June. So I'm not calling for 50,000 Bitcoin, but if these cycles do keep repeating this similarly, I mean, could we hit that $48,000 Bitcoin price when Satoshi is 48 years old and we have this local high test right here at 48,000? Bull trap before we keeled over into our selling climax. So we know that 48K level is very, very important. And esoterically by the code, we know that number 48 is important. Just like we saw the last time Bitcoin traded at 47,000 was on the day of Satoshi's 47th birthday. And it never traded higher than 47,000 since then, still to this day. So we know that the birthday of Satoshi and the age, even though this is a mythological character, it is coded into the price action of Bitcoin without a shadow of a doubt. So I'm open-minded, of course, and we're going to keep tracking this as we go week by week. I'm really excited to see that we broke out above this level, though, because now it's confirmation. whoever thought that the automatic rally wasn't going to happen and they didn't believe in this concept, again, I didn't invent this concept. It came from me studying a Wyckoff method and Richard Wyckoff. So shout out to Wyckoff, man. He was doing this 100 years ago with precision and accuracy. So if it's not broke, why are we trying to fix it? And I felt that it was important that we don't get too lost in the emotions when we have the cyclical nature of markets to pay attention to with over 100 years of data. And it seems that Wyckoff method has been the best application moving forward into how Bitcoin behaves. And the way Bitcoin behaves influences how all the other cryptos behave, pretty much. So here we are. We have gotten above the 382. That's one of my first markers for calling it an automatic rally. And after we broke out of this sideways consolidation range and went another leg higher, then it's confirmed. We are in automatic rally. Naturally, we get to about the 0.5 fib. When we look at stocks and in crypto, the automatic rally could be very, very extreme. It could be as high as the 786. But typically what we see on an automatic rally is somewhere between the 0.5 and the 0.618. So the bottom of the golden pocket. And because that's sitting at a weird level of 39,000, I would just assume that Bitcoin is going to hit 40,000 in this automatic rally. We're getting really close to the solar eclipse though. So the fact that I just told you moments ago that the lunar eclipses become weaker in solar cycles comparatively to lunar eclipses in lunar cycles, well, that's making me feel like we can extend into the month of May a little bit further. And with the recent World Reserve decode I shared, I actually expose a lot of how I've been open-minded to how June can go this year, but I definitely do not feel good about July. So with that being said, again, we'll keep tracking this as we go. Let's zoom in a little bit, check out some things to consider. First and foremost, we could have a back test of 28,000 at any moment. It was a clear level that we needed to break through. We've broken through it. It's just a couple days, so we can't be throwing any parties just yet. Naturally, like I said, we tend to gravitate to the 0.5 fib on the next move up. That's pretty obvious. Let me turn off all of these drawings and just look at some moving average and see what we have. So bullish EMA band right here. We have the 13 above the 21 above the 34. It's looking beautiful. I'm going to look at these SMAs. And here we have it. We have the 8 at the top. Beautiful. We have the 55 below the 34 and the 200s all in perfect posture. Bullish. Really can't say anything negative about this. Now we're looking at the weekly. This is a huge sign. So I'm going to turn these off to not confuse you. We have right here, this is the 13 EMA with a lot of space between our candle. That's huge. That's telling me that we're definitely in a bullish momentum. We have this 21 moving average crossing above the 34 exponential. That's very nice as well. This puts them into bullish posture. And on next weekly close, this cross will be 100% confirmed. Very nice. Now we're looking here. This is your 8 SMA has crossed above the 55 SMA. I call that the wolf cross. That's a very critical cross to consider for bullish momentum. If they cross in the opposite direction with the 8 below the 55, that is a downside implied. So another thing to mention here is how the 8 has gotten above these 200s. Huge. The last time we got rejected off of these 200s was back in February, and since this candle here on March 13th, we've bullishly broken out above it, and that was the first time getting above it all the way back to us breaking through down below 20,000. And that was the first time Bitcoin started trading below 20,000 going back to December 2020. So that break of the 200 exponential on the weekly chart was huge. And now that we've gotten back over it, this is looking really nice. So all things considered, I'm going to add both of these together. I would like to see all of these EMAs start to cross these two green lines, the 200 simple and the 200 exponential. And by next week, we should be seeing this 21 and 34 also cross bullishly above the 55. So this is looking great on the weekly. I'll keep it at that. Again, I just released my Red Pill podcast number 106 with a full gold decode. I went over a couple of altcoins and I did a complete thorough analysis of Bitcoin from the weekly chart, like I did everything really detailed. So not only by becoming a Patreon supporter will you get the new Sell in May Go Away decoded, but you'll get part 1, which was, or sorry, the World Reserve decoded, but you'll get part 1, which was the Sell in May Go Away decoded, and you'll also get all 100 plus Red Pill podcasts. That recent Red Pill podcast with the decode on gold is about an hour and a half long, packed with value. So Really not much more to add to this because I told you about the upside, and the downside target would just be a back test of this 24-day sideways consolidation range. We do see the 8 simple moving average and the 13 sitting right at that level, somewhere around 28,500. So if Bitcoin wants to pause a little bit, have a quick retest, that would be your key level. And for continuation, just seeing dailies close green. So if we have a daily closing at about 30,400, that would be a signal to continue on up. And RSI should also be looking pretty good. Yes, it is. So RSI isn't overextended to the top. It's just slightly overbought. Nothing really to expect for any downside at this moment besides a small back test. So the people who think that this is it for Bitcoin, it has a lot of room to go with all indicators. Let's quickly check in with Ethereum, looking great. So ETH actually had a little bit of a breakout out of this sideways range a little bit prematurely before Bitcoin, getting a little bit of a start of an M pattern, but this could also just be like a weird short-term cup and handle if I was to look at like a 4-hour, but I don't want to get too invested in that kind of stuff because it's too micro and unimportant. At this time, it's just continuation. If Bitcoin continues, we have that 0.5 fib to the upside, about 2076. And if I turn off all these moving averages, you're going to see clear as day that these rejections on this trend line have been happening over and over and over again since the breakout in January. That's about 88 days of resistance. So keep that trend line in mind for the resistance level. It's easy to draw on your chart. I'm not a big trend lines guy, but if I'm seeing over 2 months of rejections perfectly, well, we could consider that a very strong level of resistance. So another thing to consider is we have this peak over here from August. I've been telling you guys for months, until ETH starts trading above those levels, no parties. So the fact that we have this resistance line and we have this level about 2050 and the 0.5 fib, that is a very strong rejection level. All right. So if ETH wants to move up past that, it's probably going to be a spike. I don't think it'll be a lot of trading days, and it'll be correlated to Bitcoin having a spike up as well. It would be great to see ETH outperform its last automatic rally, because in the last iteration of the automatic rally, it only came up to the 0.5 fib, and that was after losing about 95% of its value. So here we have a loss of only 81%, and thus far we're coming up pretty close to the 0.5 fib right now. So it would be really nice to see ETH move into the golden pocket on this, but the market doesn't do what we want. We just have to follow it, set your limit orders if you're planning to de-risk accordingly to your trading plan and your analysis. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. That's not financial advice. So on the downside, we have that 382. I'd be looking at 1700 on a retest, but more than likely we're going to keep moving up into this 0.5 fib as of now. Getting to XRP, clear rejection at these at this 54 cent level. I keep talking about it, but we got rejected there. We've gotten sucked down into 48 cents. That's a good retest, but now we're getting a little bit of resistance at this 53 cent level. I don't like that. ETH needs to start closing 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, weekly candles above this 54 cent level soon. And that was the analysis that I shared. I said until XRP starts closing macro candles above that 54 cent level, no parties. So here we are. A single daily spike up to 58 means nothing, especially with an asset like XRP. It's so volatile. You have to play the macro game with this to have a solid confirmation and to have confidence in the breakout. Right now, until we get above 60 cents, I'm not confident, but I do have conviction that we should be making it into that 81 cent target and that 91 cent target, given Bitcoin continuing more to the upside. So ultimately, and I've been sharing this for over 5 months now, regardless of what people think about my work, I know it's not the most bullish fantasy projections, but it is truth. So I've spoken twice with Bearable Bull. Again, shout out to him for having me share my truth on his platform. I'm super grateful for him and his community. You know, I'm a technical analyst and a decoder, and I see very clearly in how this market operates. I'm not going to be giving you these fantasy price targets. Don't get offended. It's just truth. And I know the truth is hard to swallow, but the truth sets you free. So these aren't the most exciting price targets in the world, but they're opportunity. And when you become a trader, you start to see that you just look for opportunity in the market, whether it's bullish or bearish, it doesn't matter. That's why I say, don't be a bull, don't be a bear, be a wolf, follow the moon. And this is how you become successful in navigating markets. You can't do it emotionally through the cult-like tribalism that comes along with any groupthink. So I love the XRP community for being open-minded and for having that discernment, but then there's also another side to them where they're waiting for the day that never comes. And that will really impact your ability to become successful in this market. So again, another shout out to Bearable Bull for having me on his channel, speaking my truth and allowing me to share how I've been able to profit handsomely off of this asset. Whilst it's been pretty much sideways for the past 5 years, I've been able to take advantage of it and see the opportunities. And that's why I'm here sharing this with you guys every video. So it's to help you see clearly. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. That's not what this is about. It's not about offending people. It's about showing you the truth in the charts. So what I'm seeing right now is we need to get above that 60-cent level. Until then, it's really just going to be trapped in this range. And I don't like how these were prior support levels that we're getting rejected at now. It's not showing me strength. So I'm not seeing much strength in this XRP breakout. This is a typical XRP breakout that we get. I don't want it to turn into another Bart Simpson head, but it might become that. That's one of the claims to fame on my channel, by the way, is calling out these Bart Simpson heads over and over again and how they like to play out. You could see them going to pretty much over the last 4 years. These Bart heads are very, very, very normal, all right? So don't get caught up in them with emotions. If you're somebody who's been in this for a while now, you should be able to look at these charts from the past and see clearly how this is going. Okay, so final words of wisdom. If we are going to get any back tests for XRP at this time, 48 cents should hold. It's pretty much testing these levels here going back to October, September. And on a bullish breakout, if we're going to be able to get up above 58 cents, you're going to have a little stall out most likely at 59.60. But we know XRP, it could just shoot through these levels like a hot knife through butter. So if you are not prepared with setting limit orders, then I just really don't know what to tell you. You know, this asset moves. So for me, I still feel like we have a shot at 81 cents to 91 cents and a wicks to $1. I'm not going to change my mind until I see Bitcoin roll over. But as Bitcoin's starting to break out bullishly right now, this is all looking like a perfect setup. So I'm going to leave it at that. Again, I have the new Decode released, World Reserve Decoded. And for those of you that are very interested in ISO 222, CBDCs, XRP, you know, you're going to want to check this out because this is just getting started in a series of decodes that I'm going to release throughout the remainder of this year. And I believe this will be a game changer for people who are unaware of this knowledge and how I'm perceiving this market looking forward. I'm very, very thorough in how I see the whole CBDC and digital currency cashless society being revealed to the public. So this decode shares it all with you. Again, I appreciate all the support. Wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Much love.